2025 is not going as I expected. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. This was not going as I expected. This year, this channel, and it's only January. Yeah. Really sticking strong to my New Year's resolutions, aren't I? Hey everyone, my name is Mitch. Welcome back to my channel. I use this channel to talk to myself with you. You know, I thought that this would be a place where people could grow or use my own journey as a way to examine their own and your own, and in hopes that you would get better in the ways that you wanted to get better as well. Hold on. Another cat. Yes, so having this expectation around the immediacy of the impact that I would make, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today, managing expectations. And I struggle with the management of those expectations because of can I introduce you? Do you have anything you'd like to say? Sweet baby? Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh. This is very helpful, I'll be honest. Holding a cat. Okay. You're free. Yeah, so I really struggle with managing my expectations because of two things. Firstly, I am incredibly impatient, and I think that I want to start things immediately and then immediately have that feedback, whatever it is. Positive, negative, that's not true at all. I want positive feedback. That's all I want. All I want is positive feedback. Yeah, I'm wildly impatient, so I can't just let things sit and settle and take their time, that all good things and all important things are supposed to take, and I kind of just want things to happen immediately. And not only do I expect things to happen immediately from impatience, I'm also delusional. Let's be real. I think, I think we all are entitled to a healthy amount of delusion. The line between being a dreamer and being delusional is so thin now, more than ever, I think, for a variety of reasons. But yeah, I've always just it's been those two things. Wanting something to be immediate and then wanting something to be the best. I think that was always an expectation and a pressure that I put on myself, so much so that I wouldn't even try. And I feel repetitive saying this because I feel like I talk about this all the freaking time of just, not putting myself out there or not actively trying my hardest, because I think that if it's not the best and I'm not immediately good at it, it's not worth it for me. Or it's the idea that what's meant for me is meant for me. And so I misconstrue the idea that something being meant for me should also be easy for me, and should come to me easy, and should come for me easily. But yeah, so this truly getting so bogged down by the chasing of this perfectionism, so much so that I don't even actually try. And then by doing so, I convince myself that, this thing that I was actually setting out to do was never meant for me, because the things that are meant for me and will come to me. And then I contort that into, well, they should come to me easily. And damn, maybe that's not true. So my expectations are these things that maybe we're all guilty of. As the saying goes, never assume, because it makes an ass out of you and me. And assumptions are those expectations. And so assuming that something is going to go some way creates that expectation that it will go that way. It sort of falls in this spectrum of, it didn't go as I expected, and I expected it to go so well, so that's disappointing. and it went as poorly as I expected, and I'm disappointed in that way because I expected it to be that. And then sometimes I am surprised of like, oh, this was different than I expected, and so that can feel good. Oh man, but how are you this week? I hope you take the time to actually ask yourself that and actually reflect on it. I know I know it's been a very challenging first few weeks of this year, and I feel that as well, and I'm certainly feeling it this week. I've had an entire week of just those discoveries of still existing thought patterns and beliefs and things that I've tried to grow out of and think differently about, then they still show up. And now they're showing up in such different ways, in such new and frustratingly new ways, that I'm having a bit of that, a small and manageable crisis of like, have I grown at all? Like, have I actually done anything that I set out to do? And yeah, so that's disappointing, to feel those things. And it's kind of like this. I was talking with my therapist, and she asked me, it was about the reason behind the things that I'm doing, and like this competition that I'm creating for myself with everyone, really. Everyone in my life, I kind of create this comparison and competition with. And I had thought that I got past that. I thought that I wasn't competitive anymore, or this will make sense, I promise. So, when I was a child, when I was a wee lad, lassie, I went to a basketball day camp. Yeah, that's right. No, I went to one basketball sleepaway camp, and I missed my mom so much that I cried every night, until, yeah, actually, and then, oh, it was actually a very sweet moment. I had two friends there, and they both kind of went out of their way to cheer me up, and yeah, it was very sweet. Oh, Dean and Eric. Wow. Yeah. They were just quoting SpongeBob at me, and so they did the "yeah, buns and ties." That's a deep cut for all my SpongeBob fans out there, and it worked. But okay, so yes, and then never went to a sleepaway sports camp again because I would always cry and I'd want to go home, which is why I'm just such an athlete. But so this was a basketball day camp. So I got to go home at night, which was very nice. And so in this camp, we would do one-on-ones, like just a one-on-one competition kind of thing, like tournament style kind of stuff. I remember that I lost. I did not take it well. I was like sobbing, and so much so that one of the coaches came over and did what a coach should do, and was like, trying to honor the feeling that I was experiencing, but also, just help me stop crying pretty much. And was talking about like how I cared so much, and how I was so, like, the fact that I was so upset meant that I cared so much. And I think the lesson that I contorted from that, and while that is a good lesson, I misconstrued that as, oh, the fear of feeling that feeling of being that upset created this like, oh, well, I'm not going to compete, because if I compete, then I'll lose and I'll feel that way again. And I never want to feel that way again. And I would play cards with friends and just get super competitive, and I would carry myself as sort of a goofy person, and so a lot of my competition comes out as like goofballness, but it's also like it's goofball with an edge. Basically, I would just say really creatively mean things to people because I was so upset. And that was more in college and stuff, and I didn't like the feeling of that. And I just kind of started surrounding myself with people who people who were objectively better than me at the things that I wanted to do. And so I found myself losing a lot. And so then I kind of co-opted this holier than thou, oh, I'm not competitive, I just want to have fun kind of feeling. And it still exists inside of me, this competitive spirit. And I think what's heartbreaking about it for me is what feels like I'm trying, and like I'm actively in this moment really trying to reframe the negative self-talk about, well, I've always been a loser and I guess I always will be a loser. And I really do struggle with that feeling. And I know that that isn't true. And I know that that's also just this expectation that I create for myself, that if I expect to lose, then I will. And that's something that is pretty crummy. And so, okay, so like with expectation as well, I really don't think that having expectations is a bad thing. It's good to expect the good in people, or to expect a positive outcome, because then there's that thought action of, if I'm expecting something good to happen, I will then be more open to finding the good regardless of the outcome and regardless of the scenario. So having those expectations, and having expectations just in general, I think is a good thing. To live life without expectation is ultimately a goal of mine, to have like zero expectation about anything, so I can then be open to all possibility. I also at times feel like I missed a step, or miss a step, in letting go of expectation, in that it becomes like, it actually is just like deeply pessimistic, instead of, oh, I have no expectation, therefore I'm open to it. I have no expectation, or try to have no expectation, because I always expect that it won't go well, or it won't go the way that I want. And so I grapple with that deeply selfish thinking as well, because it's always like me, my, now. I want a puppy, I want a cookie. um, and I don't know, I think that's like, expectations are also things that sort of help us stay alive and survive. So I understand why they sort of have created, because we as people are pattern recognizers, and to recognize a pattern when our species was much younger on this world meant that, quite literally, the difference between life and death. If you could recognize the pattern of a poison plant, you would know not to eat it. And now, because society has evolved much faster than biology, we still experience that pattern recognition, only now it's with our day-to-day lives. And so I'm also just like kind of down today. Yeah. And so it's easy for me to lean into this feeling of like, man, what is all of this? The world's literally burning. The country I live in is what it is. TikTok is gone, which is just like an infringement on our ability to connect. And I also think, for me, I compare. I am a victim of my own doing. I know this is all self stuff. The world does not do this to me. It is things I do to myself. But I am the victim, again, of competition and envy. I really am, yeah, just an envious person, and it's one of my like least favorite qualities about myself, and something that I am actively trying to work on, and just have a lot more gratitude for where I'm at in my own journey, in my own life. Because I know that with envy, I look at someone else doing the exact same things that I'm doing, or maybe a little bit less, or a little different, and they're yielding such different, or they're yielding the results that I want. And so I create that envy and create that comparison and then create that expectation of, oh, I'm not that. I'm not it. Which is like, man, which sucks because it's like I really don't. I wish I had something outside of myself that I could look to and really blame. Literally, I just want something else to blame other than myself. And I know that that is not the case. Yeah, it is all up to me. It is all on me. And it is all because of me that I am experiencing all of this stuff. And I think, yeah, okay, yes, these. Hmm. And so, a question I have for you, humble viewer, and for myself is what is the difference between an expectation and a dream? I don't really know. Like I could look up the definitions of the words right now, but I'm not going to do that. Dream. A series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep. A cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. Expectation. A strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. A belief that someone will or should achieve something. One's prospect of inheritance. Ooh, okay, getting sidetracked real fast. A thing that is inherited, the action of inheriting. Great expectation. Oh, does that what great of Charles Dickens? Great Expectations. Huh. Okay, so it just seems like expectations feel a bit more practical and dreams feel a bit more ephemeral or feel a bit more, yeah, like cherished. I like that word. Aspirations. And so it's, where was I going with that? I guess it's just like dreams. Look, okay, I'm going to make this motivational. I'm going to reframe this to have some semblance of motivation for it for myself. Please continue to dream. Please, please, please have a dream. Please feel your dreams. Please explore the opportunities of attaining those dreams, because to dream is human, and to make those dreams manifest is something that we are acutely able to do. And so let's do it. The expectation is something that is rigid. And while it is good to have structure, to be rigid is to welcome crumbling, because the life and the world around us is not a rigid place. It is very fluid and flexible and can change on a dime. And to meet that fluidity with rigidity, we will crumble. And so to have those expectations crumble, expectations will always crumble because they are rigid. But if we are fluid with our expectations and we manage those expectations by being fluid about them and being open to expectations changing, we will then be better suited to pursue our dreams. And that's how we do it. Yeah, that's how we change that thought. Look, okay, it's hard out here. And it's always going to be hard until it isn't. And then it will be again. And so what? Who cares? I don't know. Oh boy. If you've gotten to this point in the video, please comment below saying made it. I'm struggling with my why. And I know I talked about this last week and I continue to talk about it because I guess I really am struggling with it. But hey, you know, I'm a broken record. So I'm a broken record's right 2 times a day. I think I started this channel for nefarious reasons. And I think why it's difficult for me to really latch on to believing in this content and believing in the message or believing in what this is because it was all a ploy for attention. And admitting it, I guess, opens me up to managing my expectation about this. And becoming more authentic with what I'm making and showing more of myself to you, my lovely viewers. And showing ultimately also showing more to myself, because I still feel like I'm walking through this life in a daze, and I know that mindfulness, and I know all of these things that I can do that will help. I just don't do them because I don't. And I have no explanation as to why. And to be honest with myself, in a public forum, regardless of the view count, I think is something that I am proud of myself for doing. And I want to continue doing this. So, but even though I started this just to get attention and maybe talk about my mental health, because I'm gonna be real with you too. And this may be a little self-deprecating, but I'm just gonna get right to the point. I've never been the strongest person. I've never been the smartest person. I've never been the funniest person in the room. I've never been the most talented person in the room. And I think that in these things where we're trying to discover who we are, it's important to know what is the thing that I can be good at, and what is the thing that I can be the best in the room, to say the least, or the resident expert. And I want to be the kindest person that I can be. And kindness is a really weird thing to talk about on the internet, and not because we're in short supply. I burr up against that notion that we're not in a kind world anymore. We are. It's just we're also so plugged in that we're able to see a lot more unkindness and a lot more kindness as well. But I want to be a kind person, and so I want to be the kindest person in the room. And it's easy when I'm the only one here. So, but I hope that my videos have a feeling of warmth and kindness and honesty to them. So that's it. Thanks for watching. And I'm going to keep going, is what it is. I'm holding firm to my belief of follow through and doing more of these videos. And so thank you, really, truly, from the bottom of my heart. And I'll see you around. Okay?